Zest is in, where resilience begins, not fixing the cracks.
Hello everyone and welcome to Zest is Zen with me, Shel Marie, the podcast that will take you on a journey from the hustle to the harmony, fueling your passion whilst finding your peace. Today you are going to love my guest. She is called Carla Crivaro and she is a sex, love and relationship coach who helps people reclaim confidence, heal intimacy wounds and awaken their sensual energy so they can thrive in love and life from the bedroom to the boardroom. What more could we want, hey? In all aspects of our life, through her deeply personal journey of unlearning shame, rebuilding self-trust, and transforming relationships from the inside out, she invites us into a powerful conversation about desire, identity, and authentic connection, asking what becomes truly possible when we fully embody our pleasure and presence. If you feel called, please subscribe to this episode to help amplify my beautiful guest voice today, as well as all my other guests to follow. Costs you absolutely nothing, just a click of the button, but allows this conversation and the wisdom shared here today to reach many more hearts and minds. May this episode bring you the clarity, confidence, courage, and embodied self-love, let's go for that you might be seeking. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Super excited to see what unfolds today in our conversation.
Absolutely. Same. And it's really interesting because usually I always have like something I'm really intrigued to ask straight away, but for some reason right now I'm just like, let me have a little thing. And I think what's always beautiful, before we dive into actually the here and the now, I always think it's really nice, whatever you feel like sharing, just to go back a little bit so people can kind of understand the point that you got to today. Whatever you feel like sharing that you think would be valuable for the audience.
Yeah, so I think when a lot of people connect with me, like either in person or when they see me on my socials, or maybe, they see me in the press or something like that, I think people think that they see me and think, oh, she's always been like that. Like she's always been, really confident. And in my 20s, I came across as confident.
Yeah, I hear you.
But it was that performance. Yeah, exactly. So the journey actually to here has been a very painful, complicated, but also joyous one as well. Like, lots of revelations and truth. And so, because people say to me all the time, like, that's really interesting what you do. How did you become a sex and relationship coach? Have you always been interested in sex? Is sex always, being a big thing for you? And I'm like, no, absolutely not. I was brought up Catholic, Southern Italian heritage as well. So there was very much, I grew up with this idea that my value and worth as a woman was like finding a husband and bringing children into the world. Yeah. And so with that, value set behind me, every decision that I was making consciously and unconsciously was like, what's going to bag me a husband? And I live in a small village, and I was hearing all the time of like which girls were the good ones and which ones weren't. And so you're hearing all of this messaging. And I remember once my cousin telling me that one of the guys in the pub said, Carla would make a really great wife. Why would I make a great wife? Because I was a good girl that did what everybody else thought I should or shouldn't do. And, an element of that was sexual repression. Like, and I want to point to the difference here between being passive in the bedroom and being submissive. Like being submissive is a chosen state of wanting to surrender. And being passive is like not engaging at all, and just allowing in an unconscious way for people to tell you what to do and how to do it. So you're not choosing that role. Your ability to disconnect from yourself or inability to connect from yourself means that you become passive. And I was really passive in the bedroom. I got the husband that I thought I should get, did all of the things, ticked all of the boxes, had the children, did the stay-at-home mum thing, you know, everything that I was supposed to do, had all the tick boxes, and then reached a point where I had really bad mental health problems like chronic anxiety, intrusive thoughts. And what I began to understand was with anxiety is, you know, it's not being able to express your emotions and also not living in alignment, you know. So I was performing life for everybody else's benefit, but not my own. So I went on a deep healing journey, learned about inner child, learned about boundaries, like the fact that I could say no to things was a massive revelation.
Yes.
And then I also learned about trauma in the body and the nervous system. And so I started to heal my own anxiety by applying what I learned there. And then it was like, I felt like I was able to cope with life. And I thought, gosh, I know so many mums that are really stressed out, really anxious, really overwhelmed. I would really like to support them. And although talk therapy had sort of had brought an awareness to the patterns that I had, it didn't like take me forward. And I thought I'd really like to do coaching so that I can take women that, you know, mums that are anxious and help them move forward.
Beautiful.
So coaching was something that I wanted to do. And then someone suggested the sex, love and relationship coaching certification. I was like, okay, well, I can take the coaching and help anxious mums, and then the sex and relationship stuff I can keep for myself, because I had been wondering, you know, what if there is more to sex? You know, I didn't really have problems like with orgasms, but it just like sex just felt very mechanical and not. And I was like, you know, what if there's more to it? So I did the certification, and in the first few months is a real deep dive into our own relationship patterns and our own sexuality. And it just opened up like a whole new world for me. Wow. And so I approached my then husband at the time and said, I want to open our relationship. What do you think? And he was like, well, what does that look like? And I said, well, I didn't think we would get this far in the conversation, so I've not really given it much thought. So we spent the next few months. we spent the next few months like, what do we want? What do we both feel comfortable with? And so about 6-7 months later, after that conversation, we opened our relationship. You know, we dated separately. Wow. And, you know, our relationship evolved for a couple of years along that path. And you know, the non-monogamy really enabled us to really build solid foundations around communication. Wow. About being vulnerable as well, really sharing our fears, supporting and holding each other in each other's fears. And then, you know, our relationship then we got to a point where it felt complete. We separated and started seeing people separately. He's still with his partner. I'm now single, and our current situation is I live all the time with our children. When I am parenting the kids, he is with his partner, and then when he's parenting the children, he comes back into the family home. So we have a nesting situation. Wow. So, you know, my journey to where I am now and the confidence that I have in choosing decisions, in my communication, like I have not always had that. Like, wow. You know, it's been, it's been an opportunity of learning. And it's really interesting because of my own journey. I find I attract a lot of people with similar desires, similar questions about their own lives as well, whether that's men or women. Because after doing the year's certification as a sex, love and relationship coach, I also, after that, did a year's training in men's sexuality and masculinity, because I was getting men coming and asking for support. And it's like, you know, I'm a woman, you know, I was starting to realize doing my own inner work that I have a really good understanding of myself and how society has put pressures on me as a woman. I'm really curious about like how men have been affected by social conditioning, by patriarchy. And so I did that year's training, and that just really opened up a different way of seeing men. Really gave me the opportunity to heal some, like, you know, past relationship residue that was still lingering from past relationships, all of those different things. And it also enabled me to really deepen the work that I do with couples as well, because, you know, I'm able to show up, and it's very easy for female therapists or coaches or counselors, when we have a couple in front of us, to project as women our own stuff onto the couple. And so it was like, yes, this training really, you know, in men's sexuality and masculinity gave me a very different perspective, so that I could see the dynamic playing out between two people. So yes,
oh my
it's
gosh,
very much been
wow. Can I ask, when you did that course, I'm just really intrigued, because this is why I love this so much, because, you know, if you pre-plan and you make assumptions, just everything ends up being, you know, just kind of so one way. But because you've just unfolded all that, and I'm really intrigued, just as much as it sounded like you were, of the male side, because actually, obviously we'll dive into both, but as the opposite sex, it's really interesting. Like, it was that, well, I'm sure there was more than one, but what really came up that made you go, oh, I never thought of it that way? Because I bet there was so many moments, and I think it's so powerful, because isn't it interesting? Like, women go to women, men go to men, but we're only again in the same general mindset. Whereas,
and that's
like
the
your
problem.
superpower. It's like, hold on a second, pull it out, you know. I think it's incredible. I'm so happy you were guided, and anyway.
It is so interesting, because it was that also that helped me to understand that, you know, now if I have got a question, you know, around a relationship with a man, I don't go and ask a woman anymore. Like, I've got lots of male friends and colleagues who are self-aware, who do their own inner work, so they're able to reflect, they're able to understand their own projections. And so because I think it is difficult, or speak to women who have also done similar training specifically around men's sexuality and masculinity. But the biggest thing that women need to know about men, and
listen, everyone, I'm listening.
And I'll tell you how I got
all
there.
The men like, turn off.
So I'll tell you how I got there. So when I was non-monogamous with my ex-husband, I was dating men. So I was basically looking for casual sex, one night stands, that type of thing. And I was on an app called Field, and which was really good for finding those types of connections. And so, you know, I meet someone on an app, do a video call. Yeah, you're cool. Let's meet for a coffee. Okay, you're cool. Let's organize a date for sex. And so that was, you know, what I did for a couple of years. And it was the same year that I was doing my training in men's sexuality.
Okay.
And I remember, you know, we were learning a lot about male physiology and all of these other different things. And I said to the group, which was mainly men, and then just myself and another woman in it, so mainly men in the cohort. And I said to them, like, do you know what's really interesting? Men seem to have more problems with erections now when I was younger. And so they asked me more questions around that. What do you mean? I was like, well, when I was in my 20s, when I was in relationships with guys, like, I don't think I ever saw a guy having issues with his erection or losing his erection. I don't think that there was that problem. But, you know, the men that I'm meeting now, a lot of them have that issue. And they knew that the men that I was meeting was for one night stands, that they weren't for relationships. And they said to me, Carla, it's not that they have a problem with their erections. It's, you're an attractive woman, you're confident in yourself, you're confident talking about sex, and in the bedroom, like, that's going to be intimidating to men. And I was like, oh. And there was this realization that men are not confident. And I had always had this assumption definitely in my 20s, because I was that passive person who never spoke up for herself, who never asked for what she wanted. She just had just allowed people to do to her. I had assumed that it was the man being confident in the bedroom. And it wasn't necessarily that they were confident, it was just that I was super passive. So it was easy for them to assume that the role of confidence. But actually, you know, when I myself became confident, because men generally aren't confident. They have low self-esteem, low self-worth. Most men are wearing a mask to hide all of this. Life for most men is a performance. So then I was like, holy shit, are we allowed to swear on this podcast? Yeah. It was like,
anything goes on Zest Zen.
what if every man's bad behavior, and I'm going to put that in inverted commas for people that aren't watching but are just listening, what if every man's bad behavior is because of lack of confidence? So the ghosting on the dating apps isn't because there's a problem with you as the woman. It's because actually, do you know that if some men really like you, they are more likely to avoid you because they don't feel good enough to be with you? And it was all of these different ways that I started to see, wow, it was never about me. Wow. In my 20s, I would think, if a guy, because I appeared confident, even though I wasn't. If a guy didn't fancy me or like,
it's like, sorry to interrupt you, but it's like with everything, it's like an unconscious energy that people just feel into, that we're both very unconscious about, or whoever. So wow.
And so I used to think when I was younger, maybe, so I used to think that quite a lot of guys didn't really fancy me or find me attractive. I used to make it about me. Then it was like, what if they didn't actually feel good enough in some way?
Wow.
And it was and so that became a thing. And then when I started working with men and seeing that, seeing all of the different things that they were doing, all of the different things that they were performing to hide the fact that actually deep down there was something in them that didn't feel good enough. It just, so the awful guy on the internet that trolls you and gives you abuse, not confident. The guy that goes to you at dating, not confident. The guy that he shows that he really, really likes you and then all of a sudden drops off a cliff, he really, he's not confident. It's because he feels, I can't maintain this, I can't keep this because I don't feel good enough. And it's, and that was the biggest thing.
So would you, not again, we're definitely not now like just going to allow certain behaviors, but would you say that that's where this love bombing comes from, or would you not associate that as the same? Because why does things like that happen? Like you feel like you meet someone and it's this fairy tale and it's so intense and passionate, and then all of a sudden 3 months and then it starts again, and then 3 months and it starts again. And I'm not saying that that's for everyone, but I know I had an experience of that, and saying they love you and all this stuff, and now I feel like I'm at a different maturity level to understand, like, no. Whereas at the time I can eat, I can sleep, I was, and
that's so that whole like love bombing thing, all of that, and all of what you're talking about, that physical somatic body experience that you've got is actually anxiety, because there is unconsciously they are displaying traits or behaviors that are familiar to the way that you were loved in your childhood. And so
the reality versus the beautiful vision I had in my mind, and what he seemed to say at the time that I ran away with, of yes, and then the reality.
Exactly, because there's something that they are doing, the ways that they are behaving that speak to your nervous system, because it's your body is constantly communicating.
Feels like home, doesn't it? It feels familiar.
And so that sense of like excitement, the butterflies in the tummy, all of that is your body saying, I'm anxious, I'm worried that they're going to leave, I'm worried that that they're going to want more from me, if they're like have a different style of attachment. And so it's all of those things that are happening in the body, and then what you do is, because you project what you want them to be, not what they are, what you take the positives, you place the projection, you create in your head the story of who you think they are, you want them to live up to that. They are not going to live up to that because you're completely ignoring the signals underneath. Absolutely. And I know because I went through this myself. So after separating, towards the end of non-monogamy, I went into a relationship with someone and then went monogamous with them when I separated from my then husband. And I ended up in exactly the same thing. It was all the glittery, fun things that I had wanted in a relationship without actually going, hang on a minute, can this person like have a conversation and speak in a calm way without being reactive and getting angry? Like maybe that's an important thing, you know?
See, I had the opposite, very charming, but then like in fairness to the person, they did not hide anything. Like if I wrote down like very much, you know, pretty much very obvious that, you know, he's engaging with other girls, taking things that were just not in alignment with me, like very like it's almost like it was like free pass, you know, like, and I'm just like, no, I don't even know how it happened. No other person would have ever got to that point, and I just do not know how, but it was an experience.
And the thing is, you now had the opportunity to come out of that, look back, and then recognize what the behaviors were, because it was the same for me, you know, all of the glittery stuff, all of the projections of who I thought that they were. And there were signs at the beginning of, you know, the lack of safety, the reactivity, you know, all of those things were there, which is what was creating this sense of excitement, which actually is anxiety, you know. That was creating the sense of excitement and the butterflies and thinking about them all the time and wanting to connect with them all the time. So now it's really important, you know, to recognize that a good relationship doesn't give you butterflies, chemistry and excitement. A good relationship,
so lately. Oh my gosh, yeah,
is like safety. You know, say, do I feel safe with this person? And, you know, there's a few women at the moment that I'm working with that have come out of relationships looking for new ones. And, you know, I'm doubling down on just go and hang out with, you know, some guys and some dating apps that you feel comfortable with. And then just, and be really honest. Let's just see where it goes. Take the pressure off and then see if something builds. Just watch, notice how they do things. Do I like the way that they speak in those situations? Do I like how they show up there? And just take a step back, just watch. And then, you know, once you've watched for a while, is this person somebody that I enjoy spending time with? Could they be a friend? Because you want somebody who
that's very
a friend with.
Yeah.
You know, can they be a friend? And then, you know, from there, notice if there's the opportunity to build feelings. But what we do is we go, there's something special about this person, and we throw ourselves into it. And then that's when we get ourselves into trouble.
And so I would love your take on this, actually. So again, you know, I was just I'm not saying I was taking everything word for word, but I was just listening to Steve Harvey. I don't know if you've heard about his 90-day rule. So I'd love that from your perspective, you know, as a sex and love and relationship coach. But he, you know, says the whole thing of, you know, women and women will only talk and know what women and women will know. And bearing in mind, he is of a certain generation and age, like I think he's in his 60s or something. But he basically says, but then he has all different ages come on, and he basically says that usually it takes roughly 3 months in order to really know if that, you know, you're compatible, the true, because he says, like, in the first 2 weeks men listen so intensely and we don't realize, like, they ask us questions and we reveal everything, and then all of a sudden you get the flowers or whatever it is you're revealing, and it's like this, again, this whirlwind of like wow. And so he says, like he has these questions and stuff. Like, I've not been dating or anything. This is why I'm just expressing it, because I haven't actually, you know,
put it into practice.
Yeah. But so he says, and he sits there, and I love watching it because he gives the ladies the reins sometimes. He says, why are you asking that question? What have you gained from asking that question? And he's like, and then also when the guys respond, he'll decode it. And he's like, so what he means, so what you hear is he wants to have babies with you. He didn't say that. He's saying, and so I think there's some parts of it that's so fascinating. But I just love your take on that as someone, as I too am very someone who is, I would say my love language is touch, very affectionate, like I am very passionate, very loving. So I would love your take on that. And it's not saying that as soon as you meet someone, straight away, but naturally as well. It's always good to get a balance of, a female and a male view, because I think, he's a married man. Did he follow the 90 days when in his first start of dating? I'm not sure.
So he's saying to wait 90 days before deciding. Yeah, I mean,
dating, literally just dating, like no intimacy. Yeah.
So, that can be really dependent, because like I've had sex with guys and then they want to have a relationship with me and I'm like, I don't want a relationship with you. Mm-mm. So I think if a guy has an intention of actually looking for a relationship and he really likes you, whether you have sex with him or not.
That's what he's kind of saying, yeah. He will wait and it will show in his behaviour if he really, really likes you.
So, yeah, and I don't think sex has not always got anything to do with that. If you're not sure if a guy is interested in you and you think he might just be there for sex, then it's better to wait. But then if you already have that feeling, then there's probably something else that's going on and you're probably best not continuing with it anyway. And I would say, one of the things that we do as women so often is ignore our intuition.
Oh, yeah.
So like if you're confused, if you're not sure if the person likes you, then let them go. You need to feel like somebody has fully chosen you. And, and I say that, but then also there is that part of us that, sometimes we can have our own low self-esteem and low self-worth, that somebody can be fully choosing us and we're not allowing that to happen. So, and I think there are so many different elements and parts to it when it comes to dating. But there was one thing that you said, so the Steve Harvey guy, what was the thing that you said about, so there was one part that you said and I wanted to speak to it about, not about the 3 months, but another part of it.
The questions? No.
Oh yeah. So with regards to what one guy mean, what he asked.
Oh yeah, and what we hear and what they mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is something very often that women will misinterpret things, and they'll misinterpret them in either one or two ways. They will hear, "I want you," when he doesn't really want them, or they are constantly looking for ways that he doesn't want me.
Oof. So yeah, both ends.
So it's both of those. And the thing is, it's always good to just like be honest and open with communication. Like stop second guessing. If you want to have a relationship with somebody long term and you're thinking of like maybe marriage or kids or buying a house together or living together or just even being in a relationship for like 10 years or something, you need to learn how to communicate with the person that you're going to be in a relationship with. You need to be able to learn how to say to them, can we go and do this weekend? It's really important to me. Or you need to be able to say, hey, when you spoke to me like that, it really upset me.
Yeah.
We need to be able to have those conversations. And if we can't have them at the beginning, then when are we going to have them? And also having them early on in a natural way. I'm not talking about testing people, but if we have those in a natural way at the beginning, we get to see how people respond. Because this was the thing in that relationship that I was referring to before, like the one that I came out of just over a year ago. I would say things and the reaction would be aggressive or negative, and I ignored that.
Yeah.
And it's like now
kind of feedback, that's clarity, isn't it? Whereas why why and I know it's easier to say it listening, but we've all I can guarantee, like, I am definitely not like, oh, you did that. No, trust me, I understand. But I think, why as women are, again, not just women, sorry everyone, whoever is has experienced this situation, but I do feel like sometimes it is a female thing. Why are we like, you know, treading slowly? Why are we extending to then have the same outcome? And again, it's not testing, but it's like, why aren't we, if we're not feeling confident to ask, but then we delay it, we're going to end up being in that situation anyway at some point, and then receive whatever it is we receive. So
I think a lot of it is because we've been taught from a very young age not to listen to ourselves and our intuition. Yeah, exactly. So it's a case of, you know, something happens when you're younger, you experience or have a sense of reality that looks a particular way, and then that reality is dismissed, or don't get angry, don't get upset, and it's like, oh, I am wrong for feeling like that. So we're disconnected from our intuition. Also, you know, biologically, women are different to men. And like, if you look at sort of, you know, how we are as humans, you know, women being physically not as strong as men, women are looking for connection and a sense of safety all the time. So the reason that we're constantly scanning our environment, because, you know, one element is because, yes, there are unsafe people out there, but also the second reason that we're constantly on edge scanning our environment is that's like a biological thing, because, you know, we would need other members of the tribe to ensure that we stayed safe, you know. So scanning the environment, totally normal. And so what we need to do is ensure that the men in our lives are staying connected to us, because when they're connected, then they're going to look after us, they're going to keep us safe. And this is like a biological instinct. It's not something that, you know, that we're choosing or not, but we can become aware of it and notice how that's influencing our relationship choices. So, you know, once we start to attach to a man and we start to, you know, see them as within part of our tribe, part of our circle, we're constantly checking, you know, are they still here? Do they still want me? Do they still care? You know, which is why, especially in relationships, you know, couples can get very disconnected when they don't understand the difference between how men and women operate. So, you know, what men need to understand is when they're in a relationship with a woman and she's talking to him, he needs to give her his full attention for her to feel safe. Like that's just is, you know, if he's like, if he's on his phone or on his laptop and he's answering in a way that's like half-hearted, her nervous system, her body is going to interpret that as like, we're disconnected, I'm not safe. Okay. And then another thing that, you know, speaking to that specific dynamic, something that women need to understand about men is like, when men are focused on something, they are super focused and they need an element of time to transition from one thing that they're doing to another, which is why, you know, if a man is on his computer typing away and he's really busy and focused, if you need to have a deep and meaningful, wait till he's finished on the computer. Like, don't bring it in there and then. You know, something that I talk about really frequently with clients, women in relationships, or when I'm working with couples, is, you know, a lot of women, when they see their partner come home, the first thing that they want to do is start talking to them. They've got this problem, that problem, all of these things. And men actually need transition time when they come into the house. So, you know, any women listening now, you know, and I'll share some of the things that men do for transition time. They'll either go upstairs, have a shower, they'll go to the toilet, they'll get their phone and sit on that. They'll grab a newspaper or a magazine, sit and read that. So they'll do something where they are transitioning from their work day to their to their home day. And if you give them that space to fully transition, and you have an agreement that he transitions, then he comes, and you can then have a conversation. That conversation is going to work better for both of you, because he needs that. And, you know, I've got some male colleagues, and they say when they're speaking and coaching men about that transition time, hey, dude, you know, you need to transition before you get into the house so that you can support her. So, yeah, so there's just these little things that, you know, that men and women are different. that's a good thing because we complement each other. We bring totally different things to the table. And it's a case of like acknowledging that, and how can we meet each other in the middle? Like, how can we understand each other's differences and find a way to make it work and support each other, so we both feel that we're getting our needs met and we're able to support each other?
Wow, even that in itself, like, because I even just think it in general in life, sometimes it's not always a no, it's sometimes a not yet. It's just the timing, isn't it? Yeah, like I just think sometimes, because I know you talk about love and life as well, but even if you like widen that, like I just think about, for example, certain times when people have asked me things that, you know, need a bit of processing time, but you know, they're almost like wanting the answer now. And it's like, sometimes you need to read the room a bit and read the circumstances and read the mindset the person's in and things like that. And so what at that time might have been a no because it's just like too much to even process, actually given in time, and by the time, you know, you've communicated, because sometimes things need a bit of communication, you know, it could be a not yet or no, I would love you to. But and I think sometimes, yeah, it's like thinking of what you just shared. It's like, you know, she's excited to see him, she wants to share or whatever's happened, and then almost doesn't receive the response she wants. But again, now knowing that, just he needs time, you know, he needs time to process. And I think vice versa, because I remember when I used to particularly be teaching, I used to get back, and I am so like love music, I'd be singing, dancing on the way home, but I equally would literally get back and probably sit just in silence for like 15 minutes. And, you know, and I'm a female, but I was like, I don't want anyone to talk to me. I don't want any TV on. I don't want nothing. I just need to just.
Yeah, land.
Yeah, land. I don't do that now, but I did. So maybe sometimes we need to assess our life choices as well. But anyway, that's another podcast.
Can I ask, when you did do that, were you on the pill?
I was actually at the time then, but interestingly,
because the pill can have an influence on us in that way. It can make us less connected to those female ways of behaving.
That is so interesting, because yeah, for nearly 7 years now, I've had nothing at all, and I feel, I just, all areas of me, I feel me. I just feel, I was a very, and again, this is interesting because different ones, and whether it would be the implant or it would be the verbal one, and the one that I used to take, I won't say because I don't want to, but the particular one I took, I was roaring. Things would just, I would cry, or I would like just constantly, I was like a little atom bomb. And like to think of that, to think that this little thing is essentially creating you into a personality that was never even yours, is another layer to womanhood, hey?
Yeah. Well, it's not even womanhood, because it basically robs you of your womanhood. It disconnects you from yourself, to your rhythm, all of those things. And you know, the more that I speak to women, you know, the more that I understand the disconnect and the difference in behavior. Like we are more like a man when we're on the pill than we are like a woman in the way that we behave and the way that we do things. You know, because as women, we move through cycles. You know, there are days where things feel really easy and we feel great and amazing. Then other days it's like the darkness has arrived. And, you know, that is a beautiful gift if we work with it. But then, you know, you take something with synthetic hormones, which causes inflammation with the body. It makes you flat all the time. So you're the same all the time, like a man is. I mean, men do have cycles. Their cycles are seasonal and daily, you know, through the day, whereas women's are like in tune with the moon almost. And so, you know, but generally speaking, day to day, men are reasonably the same.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and again, this is definitely not advertising it, but the one of the best things I ever did was come off anything, and just really listen to my body and flow, and it's crazy how much my cycle changed, because one, I would have nothing for years and years and years and years, which is not right as well, and the other, we won't need to go into all, but was very intense, and so yeah, thank you so much for bringing that up again. Another absolute gem. I really want to be conscious of time, but I'm really enjoying this conversation with you, and you're just such a beautiful breath of fresh air. Equally, because I know there's so much that you have, so much knowledge and wisdom and all sorts in your incredible, not only courses, but your mind and just all you've experienced. If there was still something you really feel like the viewers would really benefit from hearing, like, feel free to share it. Because I feel like sometimes, like when we kind of guide it and ask questions, when sometimes what people really need to hear in this moment.
Yeah, so I would say that, when people think about sex, they tend to think, or conversations around sex, they tend to think of it like as something that's sleazy or, gross. And I think, there is an undercurrent of those sorts of things happening. But at the same time, the reason that way of thinking and believing and talking about sex happens is because of the shame that we attach to it. And shame makes us hide, it makes us pull away. The most empowering thing that you can do as a human is connect to your sexuality in a safe, self-loving, empowering way, in the sense of knowing what your desires are, speaking for them, knowing what your boundaries are, speaking for them. Because when you can connect that part of yourself in a really healthy way, when you can share from that healthy place. And the reason I keep saying healthy is because there will be some people, normally men, that think that they're connected by their sexuality by being, inappropriate and unconsensual with images that they share or how they approach women. That's not healthy. That's like leaky energy. So that's why I'm using that term, because I just, because those men will think, well, I am being really open about what I want sexually, but actually you're being non-consensual and you're imposing on somebody else. That's not healthy. So when you are able to really connect to that part of yourself and release shame and live authentically from that place, it affects every area of your life, which is why my tagline is, it's not just sex, it's being unapologetically you from bedroom to boardroom. Because when you can ask for what you want in the most vulnerable place possible, which is the bedroom, and when you can set boundaries and speak up for yourself there, everywhere else in your life becomes so much easier. It creates this ripple effect. And so my invitation for those of people listening is, where are you not giving yourself permission to desire? Where are you not saying no? Or where do you need to be asking for more?
Wow. And I can imagine, even in you saying that, and someone who, is really particularly self-love wise worked on this area. I also, even you expressing that is so interesting, the energy around it, isn't it? Because I can consciously feel into people like, what? And it's like, why are we not talking about it? Why is it just something that is initiated? And again, going back to that chosen, why is it as a woman most of the time we feel like the man should to feel chosen, to feel desired? So really powerful. Thank you so much. I feel like I even need to just listen, rewind it and just listen to that one bit, because it if you applied it to anything else, it wouldn't be. So why, when we put it particularly to that topic, that taboo topic?
Because when we can make somebody else feel shame, we can control them.
Oof,
you can't.
Oh my gosh, so many shivers then.
You can't be controlled if you don't feel shame.
Oof, yeah. And now, as you express that, you can see how some men maybe were like, ooh, like knowing, like hearing you and so confident in the way you're expressing yourself. You can see, and it's not saying that they are consciously doing that, but there is probably an element from a male that, when the woman's kind of, it is all a bit crazy at that, oh yeah, I'm doing great, whereas, when you have a woman, she knows what she wants, she knows what she desires. Yeah, even that, you can feel the energy of that. It's like, oh, but wow, amazing. And I think, and that's the thing, which you, again, so beautifully highlighted earlier. Thank goodness you did both, not just as a course, but to understand the males as well, because that shows that even they need that there's something within them. We need to come together as one. It's not this and it's not that. It's back to that union, that sacred union, that sacred connection.
Yeah. And
it not just being, just something that is initiated and happens. Like let's be more intentional about it. Yeah. So I think that's beautiful. Thank you so much. Obviously, it doesn't have to be linked to anything we've spoke about. It could be anything that just comes to your mind. But one last thing, if someone was listening right now and they really needed any message, what would you tell them?
What would I tell someone if they were listening right now? Don't avoid the feelings, because they're going to be there anyway. You need to go into them.
Woo! Love. Thank you so much, Carla. You're incredible. You. This has been amazing connecting with you. What a blessing. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I love the conversation. Thanks.
Beautiful. Thank you.
That's the magic that Zest is in.